915-9751. Please call in and have your questions ready for Mr. Nichols. Got one other caller here, and I believe this is Hugh on the line. Let me go ahead and bring him on. Hugh, you're on the air.
Hi. Good evening, Mr. Nichols. I'm from Long Island. I've had a lot of bizarre experiences, which include UFO, paranormal, and near-death. Tom has a lot of information about me, and I believe I can help you with your work in a number of areas. So I'm going to keep it short, but I'm going to ask Tom if he'll give you my phone number so that you can call me at your earliest convenience, because this is
or I'll
unbelievable.
Give you mine. I'm in the phone book.
I don't know where you are. You said you're up there. You're not in New York anymore?
I'm in a little town known as Cairo. They say Cairo, which is a half-hour south of Albany.
Okay, yeah, sure. I know the area. I was up in the...
You know where Catskill is?
Saratoga Springs, up in that area?
No, that's north of Albany.
All right.
It'll be exit 21 off of 87. But
yeah.
I have no problem with giving out my phone number. I'll give it out right now. You want to write it down?
Yeah, I'm just getting to a place where I can write it. Yes.
Okay. It's area code 518.
Huh?
Area code 518.
Right.
622.
All right.
9397.
Okay.
And I also welcome visitors in the better seasons.
Yes, I think there's a lot that we can do together, and you're so right, because I have aligned myself spiritually, and I've had bizarre experiences that were trying to throw me off my path, but they haven't so far.
Mm-hmm. Well, good for you.
Well, that's all faith coming into play.
If I can be help to you, I'd be happy to.
Terrific. I'll let Tom get back with the show, but thank you so much, and I look forward to speaking with you.
Okay. And Tom can put the phone number on the site. Because I'm not hiding from anybody.
We did have a question from the chat room, and the question is, USS Eldridge, DE-173, did it use the Higgs particle in its experiment?
I don't believe it did. It was purely electromagnetic. It was purely based upon Poynting and Maxwell's work.
He's referring to the ship that was used in the Philadelphia experiment,
yes,
right?
I know. Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure. Now, when that ship came back after they shut the project down that time, there were men that were fused or a part of the deck?
Yes, this is true.
What kind of details can you give on that? Because that's always fascinated me.
Well, when you take a physical object, solid physical matter in this realm, 90 degrees away, what happens is it converts to frequency transforms. Now, if the positioning in frequency space, I call it, drifts and moves around, when it's reintegrated again, you can have things inside of things. Because when you're in the frequency domain, there is no solid objects, which means the frequency transform can drift into another one, and next thing you know, when it comes back, you got two objects together.
Okay. I'm guessing with what you're telling us here, and I see the potential myself, one of the reasons they don't talk about this or reveal this information to people on a general level is because it would end up creating more problems than it does solving any.
Well, I'm not really going to get into that. I'm not qualified for the what would the term be? The philosophy effect. The philosophy behind all this stuff. I'm aware that somebody in a think think tank thought that if the government admitted to the general public that aliens exist and UFOs are real, that it would destroy our whole cultural base. Now, if you release a lot of this stuff, you gotta remember, for years, the government's been afraid of our enemies getting super weapons. Weapons of mass destruction, to use a term that's being thrown around like candy these days. When you get into the quantum electrodynamic aspects of electronics and solid matter, you can literally build a weapon of mass destruction out of parts you could originally buy from Radio Shack. It's what this stuff could lead to that frightens the bejesus out of the government. They're afraid someone like Osama bin Laden will figure out how to make a weapon that will kill everybody within 50 miles using a 9-volt battery and a bunch of electronic components. So that, in my opinion, is the reason all of this stuff is kept so secret, as to what it can lead to.
You know, the other thing that I was thinking about along those lines is if people began to understand what kind of energies they can affect with their thoughts, as far as reality goes, that would create problems in itself, if that wasn't used responsibly, of course.
Yeah. That too.
So yes. I got a question in the chat room. Is there anything that you took away from those years of being there that was beneficial to us or to yourself?
Well, out of that, a corollary to the Montauk Project was something that's become known as the Monarch Project, where the technologies were used to program some sort of a psychic super soldier. And I was part of that project. I took away the knowledge gained that could actually help us all reverse our age.
Okay. Possibly.
I've also taken away a lot of knowledge on the propagation of quote-unquote radio waves. You know, there's a lot of knowledge I got out of this. You can't get up out of your chair, walk to your toilet, take a leak, walk back into your chair, and not learn something. Anything you do generates knowledge.
Okay.
We live, we get knowledge.
Yeah, there's so many things that people do every day, and what I say about that is they're on autopilot because they don't look at things in a new way. They don't see the differences. They think, oh, it's the same as it was yesterday. Really?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't look at those differences, although it becomes
But
a
on
very
some
slight
level of consciousness, I think everyone realizes that there are differences. They may not consciously think of it on what we like to call the subconscious level, which is purely taken from the medical crowd. We realize it on the subconscious levels, or superconscious levels, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's why people that go through regression can remember details or talk about details under hypnosis that they can't remember in the waking state, because it's all recorded right there in the brain or wherever it's recorded at.
This is true, and I deal at times with some very high levels of consciousness, how to achieve them, how to maintain it. And of course, this is leading towards the idea of how to repair the genetic damage. What it appears is somewhere in the non-physical mind, or the superconscious, there's a frequency transform that represents exactly what your DNA was when you're at the peak of life. And if you can bring this frequency transform and distribute it over the entire body, through something like a full-body orgasmic state or something like that, you can literally correct the DNA distortion from each time that your body has replicated itself. So each time we replicate, we're supposed to bring the master pattern and correct the DNA. That way we probably live for thousands of years. I don't know if I'd want to live for thousands of years on this godforsaken rock. But the capability's there. That's part of what my research is.
I was wondering if I could shift gears on you a little bit. You said that you were Pleiadian. Can you expand on that a little bit for me?
Well, I cover it in my book, Encounter in the Pleiades. That came about because I was starting to get too much credibility in the Montauk Project, so I decided to join the UFO abductee crowd. And the way it goes, at the age of 17, I was abducted out of my home in East Islip, New York, taken to the planet Alderaan, just like out of Star Wars. And my physical problems were fixed, and I got some sort of a super education, and I'm a different person from what I was before. Before, I was known as Penny Nichols, the old family nickname. At that age, at 17, my heart murmur went away, my coordination problem went away, although I still couldn't send Morse code. And I then used my given name, Preston Nichols. So it was a different person. From what I can figure, from what I was told by the Pleiadians, the original me died, and they put a Pleiadian consciousness in this body. That's why I'm really a Pleiadian agent, a Pleiadian being in a human body. Because we have a directive that we cannot interfere with another society or another planet's society. But me, being from here, I can interfere with this, with the human race. In a nutshell, that's what that's about.
Okay, so have you done anything? I know that you're allowing or sharing information about sound and how it can help people, but is there anything else that you're doing as far as interfering, so to speak?
I don't want to go into that.
Okay. Have you had any further contacts of any kind since you had the episode at 17 years old?
Yeah, I've had some contacts.
Okay, can you talk about those any?
Well, when I was 40, I walked into one of the local shopping centers in Bay Shore, Long Island, and as I walked in, everything changed. I walked in, there were people all over the place, everything was open. Next thing I know, it looks like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and I'm wandering around, and I come into with this collection of about 3 very tall, well-built guys, and they say I'm one of them, and they introduce themselves as beings from the planet Alderaan, and they tell me this story. Now,
so what is going on this planet? Is obviously this is some kind of experiment that's going on here with different forms of life. Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, basically, this planet is what's called a Genesis planet, a birthing planet. This planet is a key planet within what's commonly known as the Sagittarian sector of the Milky Way galaxy. From what I've known from the Pleiadians and other people, a long time ago, millions, billions of years ago, there was a Sagittarian galaxy. That collided into the Milky Way galaxy. And we're in the process of integrating into the Milky Way galaxy